Hey everybody, welcome to the Hey Everybody podcast, episode 39, week 39. Welcome back to the couch. I hope you had a good whatever this weekend. I know some people celebrated Easter, some people, don't celebrate Easter. I'm not too fussed about it these days. In my youth, in my angry, rebellious youth, when I knew so much, I did the standard kind of boring, oh, it's just a calendar. Ugh, the calendar telling you what to do. Ugh. And it's like, yeah, but usually the calendar tells you to go to the doctor, go to the DMV, or, get a colonoscopy or something terrible. And every once in a while, the calendar says, hey, you should get the people that you love together in a room and tell them that you love them and maybe have a meal together. And that's pretty good. I know a lot of like real radical liberal dudes that think weddings are silly. Like, if you're with somebody, man, you should just be with them, man. Like, why's the state gotta get involved? And that's fine. I'm on board with the state not getting involved. But I'm also like, the older I get, the more on board I am with the idea of weddings. Not of marriage, because marriage is a weird and probably bad idea, with the exception of me and Tori. I mean, it seems crazy that you're going to meet someone and go like, I know I'm going to change, and I know you're going to change, but I bet we'll change in the exact same way. But if you are going to get married, if you are going to commit to someone, let's have some cake about it. Like, let's do some dancing and eat some chicken. I'm into it. I think there's so many, at the end of the day, everything's a social construct, really. Wearing clothes when you go out is a social construct. If something as broad as time is now in many scientific circles being considered to be a construct, then everything's a construct. And many of them, again, are bad. The 9-to-5 workday, the 40-hour work week is a construct. You got to go to college, even if you don't want to go to college. You have to go to college because you join with high school. That's what you got to do. That's a construct. It doesn't matter if you like your job. It doesn't matter if you love the place that you live. You have to do it. It's be responsible. Get it together. It's all a construct. So on the rare occasion that we are handed a social construct that, like, wait a minute, you're telling me I get to fall in love with someone and then everyone's going to buy me presents and we're going to share a cake? Yes. Let's do it. And that's how I've come to feel about all the calendar holidays as well. The heck with it. If the calendar is going to tell me to make a big breakfast and get some candy for our son and that kind of thing, go the calendar. I'm on board. Our Easter sucked, though. It was great, and it sucked. Leading up to it, we had a fairly bumpy couple days. I start my vocal therapy finally. After a bunch of runarounds with the insurance company, we finally just decided, like, we'll go out of pocket. This whole thing has been out of pocket because it's been at the university and they're outside of our insurance, but that's where they sent me. So we're just on like a payment plan with them. And we figured, well, we'll just add the vocal therapy to the payment plan. And like Wednesday they called and they said, hey, you can't do that. And we said, why? And I swear to God, she said, I don't know. I said, you don't know? She goes, no, I don't know. It's just the computer won't let us keep the appointment on the books if it's not paid for in advance. And I said, well, can I pay for them one at a time in case we end up not doing all of them? And she said, yeah. So we paid for the first one, but we were very disappointed to find out that we can't like measure this out over time. And then our son, his Xbox broke, which sounds like a small deal, except we're living in a pandemic. So the only way he can socialize with his friends is online, playing video games with them. So while this thing's broken, he's isolated from all his buddies. And, I don't want that. So we had to try to get that fixed, which we eventually did. I have an ear infection. Yeah. I'm in this weird kind of delirious, everything bad is funny mood right now. But really, truly, I get ear infections maybe once a year, often twice a year. And they've tried a couple things, like maybe if you do this, you won't get ear infections. Maybe if you do that. I never swim. I never put my head underwater. I never do none of that. I wash my hair in a very gymnastic way. But I keep getting these ear infections. And every time I get an ear infection, I have to go to the doctor, which costs money. And then I have to get a prescription, which costs money. And then I have to suffer for a couple days till it clears up. And it sucks. And it makes it hard to do a lot of the things I love to do, like talk to the people I love or play music or any of that stuff. So that's what was going on leading up to Easter Sunday. And then on Easter Sunday, I'm like, you know what? We're going to forget all about all that stuff. We're going to put a positive spin on it. We got the Xbox fixed. We got the first throat appointment paid for. I got my medicine for my ear. And I'm going to make us this breakfast, and it's going to be great. So I make my gravy. I make my biscuits. I got my eggs all ready in the bowl. The last step in the process, the coffee's on. The last step in the process is, once the oven's preheated, biscuits go in the oven for 10 minutes while I scramble up these eggs, and then I serve everything nice and hot. So I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And I'm going, man, this oven takes a long time to preheat, but this seems extraneous. I just had a Wayne's World memory. Thank God that security guard had all that information. It seemed extraneous at the time. I don't know if I've recommended that movie to y'all, but I love those movies. So I open up the oven and it's just ice cold. It's just not, it doesn't work. It's busted. Nothing happened. There was no event. It just doesn't work. So I think about it. I go, okay, I could flip out. I could slam something. I could hurl gravy into the garbage can. And I decided, I'm not going to do that, because just like I've been doing the last couple days, these are my days. You have a limited number of days, and, best do something with them, because whether you enjoy them or not, they pass, and then they're gone forever. So we ended up, first, we have a really rad landlord. I know for whatever, a lot of people don't, but he's a friend of mine, and I just love him to death, and he's great. So the oven's getting fixed real quick, and that's great. And then we ate cheeseburgers in the car for Easter brunch, and it was awesome, because you know what? We like cheeseburgers, and we like each other, and it was great. And we picked them up in the drive-thru, and we ended up down, there's a spot by Lake Winnebago where I proposed to my missus, and she said yes, by the way. I still, weird. And we went down there and ate in the car by the water, and then, funnily enough, we bumped into my wife's parents, which was very nice. Got to see them for a minute. And but the water in Lake Winnebago is real low, and we were seeing people. You could walk out. It's ironic on Easter. We're walking on water. You could walk out, 50, 75 yards, which is some number of feet. I don't know. I watch football. Be like 150 feet, something like that, because it's like 3 feet to a yard. I don't know. This podcast isn't about math. I don't know what it is about, but I know it ain't about math. And Tori said, you guys want to walk out there? And me and Ollie were going like, the water's going to be really cold. And it's just, what if you step on a rock or something? Because that's my general disposition of like, I don't want to do it. But I could tell she really wanted to do it. And finally I just said, and Ollie didn't want to do it either. And finally I just said, all right, we're doing it. And we took off our shoes and we rolled up our pants. And we walked out there, and it was a blast, man. We saw a little fish. We saw a leech. The water was actually pretty warm when you got out there. And it was just a trip to be standing in the lake way far out, but only ankle deep, And it was a lot of fun. We had a good time together. And then we came home, and Tori hid some eggs for Ollie, and that was fun. And it was a good day. It sucked, and it was great. Just finding the good, That's like the challenge always On Saturday, my wife and I went to do our curbside grocery pickup. That's how we do it this year. We order them online, and then we go to the store, we text them, we say, hey, we're here, and they put them in the trunk, and it's great. It's like we're royalty, and I love it. But on this day, the first time it's ever happened, there was a kerfuffle. That's right, a kerfuffle. And by the end of it, we ended up sitting there for at least an hour, probably more. And we got to thinking it was pretty funny because, you know, like I was telling Tori, we got to sit somewhere. Why not at the grocery store? We got music on, we got the windows down. Screw it. But man, oh man, the lady in the car next to us did not share that same sentiment. She was flipping out, like screaming. She kept calling him on the phone. Anytime a random employee of the store came out, she would get out of her car and she would go bark at that guy. She was cussing, and she had little kids with her. She was just flipping out. And that was a good experience because there's a principle in Stoicism where they say before you do something emotionally extreme, like lose your temper or flip out in some way, you should consider how you feel when you see other people do exactly what you're about to do. And you never feel like, oh, good for them. That person seems really well adjusted and like they have a real good handle on things, and they're definitely living their best life today. So it was good to see that, to see like that's how we could be reacting to this situation, and we're not. And in exchange, we get to be happy and we get to enjoy each other's company. And it's one of the great things about our relationship. My wife and I just like being together. You could put us almost anywhere. You could send us to the DMV together. That's 2 DMV burns today. My wife has to go to the DMV next week. You know, you could send us almost anywhere, and it's as long as we're hanging out, we're fine. It's a good time. And then we also saw, this lady came out with her groceries, and she's parked like 4 or 5 spots away from the cart return. So she just leaves her cart where it is and then gets in her car. My wife and I are watching and judging righteously. And then she dumps a whole iced coffee on the ground and leaves. And I ranted about it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, this is terrible. This is what's wrong with people. And I stand by this. If you go through a day or a 48-hour period and you really catalog every slight against you, everything that makes you go like, ugh, we got to leave this world behind, everything that makes you want to go live in the woods, everything that makes you hate people, and then check, most of it will not be political or universal or some grand scale warlord whatever. It's going to be someone just threw their can on the ground. Someone cut me off in traffic. Someone just left their cart there. And that's frustrating. But what I realized right then is like, I guess the good thing about those things being small is you can pick up the can. You know, I got out of our car and I went and I got that cart and I put it in the cart return. And I don't say that to go, hey, here's what I did, you guys. I totally just got that cart because I'm pretty cool. I say it because I almost didn't. It took 5 minutes for it to occur to me that, like, just go put the cart back. You shouldn't have to put the cart back because this lady should have done it herself. But you're upset with the world right now because it wasn't done. And you could just go do it. You could go right this wrong right now. There's a lot of stuff on a national scale and an international scale in the political realm and all this stuff that I have no control over. You know, they tell me my vote matters. And I convince myself that they're right. But I'm beginning to wonder because the direction things are going. I keep voting. But I can put that card away, you know. My dad messages me. He sends me like voice messages while he's walking to the gym in Australia. And he regularly stops and like picks up this piece of garbage and throws it away. And I think having a more accurate view of what is really tripping us up in the world it's smaller scale, the stuff we interact with every day. I'm not saying Donald Trump isn't a demon. I'm not saying he didn't set us all back quite a ways or possibly just reveal things that were definitely already there. I'm not saying they won't study his impact on the world and on this country for years to come. But I am saying, beyond my vote and my attendance at the occasional protest, what can I do? I can write my angry song. But really the things that are really getting me and making me not like the place that I live or not like the people I'm around or not like the things I have to do and the places I have to go, many of those are much more within my reach, I don't know what this was. Much more within my reach to get a hold of and get my hands into and fix. So, shame on me for taking a full 5 minutes before I realized I could just go put that card away. And I encourage you all to go put the card away. You shouldn't have to. It's not fair. But it is what it is. So yeah. I had to unfriend a guy this week. I have kind of a policy of not doing that because I think there's people with some wrong-headed notions. And I think I could possibly adjust those notions were I to be able to spend some time with these people, and maybe they would watch my podcast, or maybe they would come to a show, or maybe they would read a thing that I wrote, and maybe slowly they would start to go like, I disagree with this guy, but he's really starting to make some good points, or he seems like he's happier than me, or, his life isn't falling apart, even though he believes all these liberal lies. So I have a rule about not really unfriending people. But this guy, it wasn't even like offensive to me. He was just, he was talking sincerely about a civil war. And I had this concern that there's people that I'm Facebook friends with that will see this because I'm Facebook friends with him. So in a sense, this real base relationship I have with this guy, which is purely technological, I don't think I'd recognize him on the street. It is kind of amplifying his message, and it's a message that I think is real dangerous and I really disagree with. So I had to unfriend him, and I confess it felt kind of good because I don't want to hear that stuff either. I don't. It's the same thing with what happened to conspiracy theory? I'm going to put a picture of that floating boat because we talked about that for a second. And I was so excited for this floating boat because the conspiracy theory would come and it would be like the conspiracy theory of my youth where they're testing new military technology. They got floating boats, man. I got a picture I could show you. And I confess, I do not understand the science behind this picture, but it is a confirmed real picture and you can find articles where they try to explain it. My point here though about conspiracy theory is it was fun. I was Generation X-Files. I used to watch that show all the time as a kid, and I loved it. And I loved anytime someone said, the moon landing was fake. And I go, what? Why? And they would say, because, man, they're using it to funnel money into the military, and also they had to beat Russia because of the Cold War or the whatever. And I go, oh, man, the moon landing wasn't fake, by the way. And they go, Oswald didn't kill Kennedy. And I go, what? Why? And they go... It was a combination of the mafia and our own government because he was trying to shut down the military-industrial complex. Blah, 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 blah. And they go, aliens are real, and they won't tell you. And I go, what? Why? And they go, because, man, they're reverse engineering the technology, put it back in it always comes back to the military, man, and the money. And they don't trust you to be able to live in a world where alien technology exists. Because also alien technology will free us from oil. The oil industry is covering up alien tech. You think your car can't get more than 30 miles to the gallon? Let me tell you something, buddy. And I'm intrigued. I'm on the edge of my seat, even if I don't believe any of it. I love the best part of a conspiracy theory is they go, this, and then you go, what? Why? And then they tell you. And that just went away. They go, the earth is flat, and they're trying to convince you that it's round. And you go, what? Why? And they go, huh? And I go, why are they trying to convince me that the world is round if it is flat? And they go, it's because it's flat, dude. And I go, why are they telling me that it's round? And they go, because they're lying. It's flat. And I'm like, you lost me. Also, I've been in a plane before. I've seen the curvature. I just miss when conspiracy theory was cool, man. I really do. I miss when there was reason. Same with the COVID thing. COVID's a conspiracy to control you. And I go, what? Why? And there's nothing. I go, how does the government benefit from losing possibly billions in dollars on unemployment and stimulus and all this lost tax revenue just so they can make me wear a mask? Hey everybody. Welcome to episode 39.5, brought to you by GoPro and their janky app. Yeah, I shot a whole podcast and then I started putting it together on my computer and I thought, that doesn't seem like enough in the files department. And it was not, because so much of my podcast just didn't get recorded. The camera said it was recording, but the preview on the app froze, which I noticed. I just thought, well, it's probably just the app. The app sucks. I'll keep going. I'll power right through. I'll finish this hilarious conspiracy theory bit that just got funnier as it went. And then I'll play a song and I'll recommend some records. And then I will let you go. And I did all that stuff. And it just gone. And I'm very upset about it. I'm cranky. No time has passed since this realization because I have a busy day ahead of me and I have to get this thing done. So I don't have time to pace around and huff and puff and talk about how the world's unfair. I know the world's unfair. The world's not unfair. For something to be unfair, it has to have like a consciousness. It has to have intention. The world just exists, and I exist in it with this crappy app, and, and things break. Things break all the time. So here I am. What to do next? I don't know. I mean, I thought about, I'll write something funny about how it all just disappeared, and then I thought, well, I don't know really what people come to this for. But what if they come to hear a song? And I played a certain song today, and what if someone need to hear that song? And then, just because technology did what it sometimes does, they're not going to get to hear that song. I can't have that. What if someone really needed to know about the record I was going to recommend today? I have found records at a time where I needed this record right now. So here we are, 39.2. We're going to finish this goddamn thing. So let's do a song. To finish up the conspiracy thing. Conspiracy theory used to be fun, and it used to not harm people, and now I think that it does. And it really sets people really far back, and it makes it harder for us to move forward as a people. So, smart up. There's all kinds of fun conspiracy theories you can still believe in. I'll talk to anybody about aliens for days. It's my favorite thing to do with my bass player. We just drive to shows, and for 3 hours he talks about aliens, and I love it. Talk about Bigfoot. I believe in Bigfoot. You know who else believes in Bigfoot? Jane Goodall, the foremost monkey mind in the world, says probably yeah, Bigfoot exists. So, I believe the science. Let's do a song. I'm keeping a real close eye on this preview screen to make sure. Fortunately, I have a song about depression. It's about my GoPro app and how it brings me down. It's not. What it's about a common and recurring feature in most of my bouts with what I call the blues, or what doctors call depression, manic depression with bipolar. Try writing a song about that. It's the blues. Anyways, a common feature in every go-round I have had, undefeated, by the way, over here, with the blues, has been this feeling of distance and isolation and that I am unlovable and could not possibly be loved and do not deserve to be loved because I bring down the people around me with my blues. And I have no right to even feel this way because my life is great and all this stuff. And this song is about that and about my wife always being there anyways. And I think that's one of the best things you can do for someone when they're struggling with something that you can acknowledge is kind of beyond you and beyond them and beyond everything, really, is just, leave the light on and wait for them to come back and let them come back and encourage them to come back and that kind of thing. So the song's not about depression because there's plenty of those, and I've even written a couple of them. It's about, I guess it's about coming out of a depression, which is fun. And, maybe if you don't have a Tory, I can't imagine there are very many of them out there. I would take a couple extras though, just because I like the one I have so much. If you don't have a Tory or a someone, maybe music is leaving the light on for you, or a couple people have said this podcast, and that's almost bigger than I know what to do with. But it's a great reason to come back and reshoot a song after, GoPro tries to stop me from healing the wounds of the world. Anyway, this song is called When I Was Gone. It's in this fun open tuning because this guitar was already in that tuning, and it's fun. The recording of the song is not in this tuning. I didn't write it in this tuning, but it's just fun. And, I can use some fun right now. Because what am I supposed to do? I can't... I'm going to email GoPro and what? Get my podcast that doesn't exist back? It's not going to happen. And I'm going to end up talking to someone who gets paid minimum wage, and it's not their fault. And what can I do? Just nothing. I can eagerly await the return of... This is why I love live shows. I want to get in front of people and interact with them. And I like acoustic guitars, because what's going to go wrong? The amp's not going to break. The pedal board's not going to take a dump. The pickups in my electric guitar aren't going to crap out on me. It's the first time I realized that everything that goes wrong at a show is toilet related. Taking a dump and crapping out. Everything goes to shit, man. Sorry. I had a lot of coffee today. Here's my super serious song about depression, you guys. Let's have some fun with depression. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt someday. Here we go. Goes like this. Well, when I was gone, I was so lonely. I'd only ever dream about your face. When I was gone, I was so desperate to get back to this place. Well, when I was gone, they had their medicines, that daily dose to make me feel okay. But as the days went on, it got too bitter to ever want to stay. So I came home to see if you could even love me anymore. Home to see if my key would still fit into the door. I came home to find you outside with a sign on the front porch that said, darling, well, darling, welcome home. Well, when I was gone, the skies got darker with clouds I'd seen 1,000 times before. When I was gone, there was no shelter from that familiar storm. So I came home to see if you could even love me anymore. Home to see if my key would still fit into the door. I came home to find you outside with a sign on the front porch that said, darling, darling, welcome home. Well, my sleeping came in fits and starts. starts, if it came at all, till that weight fell from my tired arms, and I let it all just fall apart. I guess I don't need it after all. 'Cause I came home to see if you could even love me anymore. Home to see if my key would still fit into the door. I came home to find you outside with a sign on the front porch that said, darling, darling, welcome home. All right, so far so good. Let's get these recommendations done and get out of here before the GoPro demons strike us down again. First up, Wham! This band and record is called Gratitude. It's a self-titled record. And it's the only record this band made, but I adore it. This band is fronted by a gentleman named Jonah, who's been in a bunch of bands I really love. A band called Far, a band called New End Original, a band called One Line Drawing. He does solo stuff, all kinds of stuff. This record is epic and huge rock music. It's inspiring and big, and I love it. Listen to the song Sadie. When Tori and I saw them live, that's what they opened with. We were listening to it yesterday, and Tori said, I know you love this band because you went to Chicago to see them. Because I hate Chicago. Mostly I just hate congestion and traffic and cities and noise and blah. And Chicago's got buckets of all of that stuff. And I live in Wisconsin, so it's the closest approximation of the stuff I hate. But I also like it. I've been there a handful of times, and it was fun, and I dig it. It's just the getting into and out of it that I'm just like, why do people live like this? But it was a great show, and I had a 90-second conversation with Jonah that changed my life forever, and I'm going to keep it to myself because some stuff just, should be mine. And then finally, Joe Strummer. This record just came out. It's called Assembly, and it's a greatest hits of sorts. It would be impossible to do a greatest hits for Joe Strummer and not include The Clash, though there are a couple live Clash songs on here that he performed with his new band, the Mescaleros. I adore Joe Strummer. I have 3 names tattooed around my neck. I have my wife's name on the front of my throat. I have my son's name over here, and I have Joe Strummer's name right here. I love him, and he's important. It's hard to tell you guys where to start. I think you should listen to every song he ever wrote. But on this record, let's do Long Shadow. He wrote it for Johnny Cash, and Johnny Cash never got a chance to do it. But it's phenomenal to hear how this guy who rose to prominence in the late 70s in the punk rock boom from England embodied the spirit of especially late era Johnny Cash and wrote this song. And now that Joe is gone, you listen to this song, and if you feel about Joe the way I do and a lot of other people do, it feels like it's about him. If I were going to write a song about Joe Strummer, it would be this song he wrote about Johnny Cash. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Plus, this record doesn't come with an app that's going to crash right in the middle and make the other disc just vanish. So that's cool. All right, I got to go. The battery's about to die because I've shot this podcast twice. But I hope you guys are good. Go listen to Joe Strummer and, leave the light on for somebody and put a card away. Cool. I love you. We'll talk soon. Thanks for all the support. All the information, if you want to support the podcast, is down there. And yeah, we'll talk next week. Bye.